Travis Wayne Goodsall. Couldn't sleep last night, so I'll do a video here before I go running. Now that the 15th is come and gone, we have a video that we need to go over. The scriptures are all Jewish. Thus, they are the Jewish religion. Thus, they need to be interpreted by Jewish interpretation. In the video I did yesterday with the clip of Oakes's first presidency message for Easter, he made it very clear that he left out the Jews and their interpretation of their own scriptures about Jesus and the resurrection. He only referred to Christian differences in interpretation, and then stated the church's position as Christian. That is wrong. That is false. If you were to run the test of the Bible, Matthew chapter 7, it's wrong automatically. You cannot use Christian on the scriptures. You have to use Judaism. And thus the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is false. There is no Mormon who should be getting upset with me unless they are knowingly, willingly evil. And yet, Mormons lie and deny, and demand and threaten other people to accept them as Christian. Thus the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, Jewish, not Christian. This is vital to understand, because when somebody's lying to you, they have malicious intentions. And if it's concerning you, then they're a threat to you. All I'm doing is exposing the Jewish scriptures for you. Jewish Joseph Smith, Jewish Book of Mormon. And so, I again remind you guys of a letter given to parents and stake presidents from the Australia Adelaide Mission Office by President Marquis, dated 26th of March 2020. And he quoted from the missionary president's meeting in Las Vegas, Nevada on the 14th of March 2020. Dallin H. Oakes. Okay. I've already established he's a false prophet. I am searching the church news. I am searching all things Mormon by these leaders, from these leaders, spoken by these leaders, because I know that everything that comes out of their mouth is false. Nothing can be true because they can't be Jewish or Christian. They are intentionally lying from our birth, from our parents' birth, from our grandparents' birth, going all the way back to Brigham Young, because that's where the change occurred. And Oakes is quoted as saying, "This is not the end of the world, but merely a test. A trial run for the second coming." And he clarifies physically, not just spiritually. The second coming is not Jewish. Second coming is Christian, created by the first creed of Christianity. 325 CE. this is the 1700th year anniversary of that first creed. For Christians to deny this fact of their own church history makes them abominable, just like Mormons. Because Constantine did to the Jews what Brigham Young did to Joseph in the Book of Mormon. And so he's not talking about a second coming of Jesus. He's not talking about a spiritual alone, because he says physical. And so he's taking the Christian Mormon interpretation and saying it's going to happen, but not in 2020. Which means 2020 is going to have the same exact type of things that 2024 and 5 will have. Because understanding what he means by the second coming and all that's involved, according to his interpretation, is vital. He's talking about cooing the United States government. How is Jesus going to be the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the great high priest, if nobody wants to give up their kingdom? Christians believe Jesus is going to be violent, cause mass murder. Jesus is not real, remember? And so, do Christians just say stuff and then just wait for it to happen? And it's been 1700 years and still nothing? What about Mormons? 200 years, still nothing. Well, I've done the research, I've done the videos, over 8.5K of them. They are causing this. Oaks is confessing, as I already knew the answer, and I've been doing the videos for you. Oaks is the mastermind. He is setting it up for the conditions, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And this is important to understand, because if you paid attention to Trump's first presidency, which he says, Oaks says, I put him in, I took him out, I put him back in. Oaks says this, that Trump didn't do his thing until 2020 into 2021. The end of his presidency. Now, he's been doing stuff during his presidency, but 2020 and 2021 was an escalation of it. That's what Oaks is telling us. That's what happened when we just look at Trump and his first administration. He had been doing things in secret, but 2020, for the campaign, he was escalating things. And thus, January 6th. But now, in 2024's election, it's at the beginning. It's not another 4 years from now. He started day one, where he didn't really get going on day one, other than in secret at the southern border. He took his time, people told him no, but he didn't push things like he's doing now, like tariffs, for example. He's starting 2024 and 2025, where he left off in 2020, 2021. He's going all in now. But he's still encountering some pushback. So that's something to pay attention to. Another pattern from 2020 and now are storms. That's part of the Exodus pattern, which is the Jewish interpretation, not the Christian. But not a coincidence. And if you understood weather, you'd understand that mankind has caused this climate change. But it would be kind of a full video in and of itself to explain to you how America created the Dust Bowl and then fixed the Dust Bowl, but then turned it into Tornado Alley, and thus the Missouri tornadoes yesterday. I was hoping, even though as tragic as it was, to get that to your attention by identifying that the tornadoes were in Independence, Missouri, or at least Alabama by Alma. They weren't. They were over on the east side, just right before St. Louis, Missouri. But again, I could explain that for you as to why they didn't hit St. Louis and hit east of St. Louis or west of St. Louis, as if there was some kind of a wall barrier for St. Louis. But it has to do with the human building of cities, and the higher the population and the more concrete jungles you create, the altering of the weather for that location. So like here in Utah, by the airport is a different temperature than downtown Salt Lake, is a different temperature as you go throughout the valley, where there's dense population versus more open population, and especially as you get into the mountains with the forested trees, you get a completely different environment, all with different temperatures and thus different weather systems depending on how you create your civilization. And that is vital in planning and designing a civilization. And so yes, for the Zion design, that is kept in mind, just in case you're wondering, because I know that was what you were wondering. As I told you last week, that the one thing that Trump had not done yet was to do a foreign military war to get American minds distracted from what he's tanking America with, and thus resulting in people rising up and protesting and suing, trying to stop him from doing what he's doing. War is a simple thing that presidents and kings throughout history, throughout all over the world, have been doing. And so I was wondering when Trump was going to begin to do that. So yesterday, sure enough, he did a strike on the Houthi again. It's not an all-out war yet. It could turn into that. But yeah, he's again attacking the Houthi with another strike. Biden, I think, did some of that. I don't think Trump has done that with. That was Biden that was doing that before. So this is the first time I think that Trump has gotten involved with that strike. The other strike was that. I can't remember which country, but yeah, he's only doing surgical strikes. This was only a surgical strike. It's not a war yet, like Israel. But as you can tell, he's helping Israel by going after the Houthi. As he's begun this past week of letting it be known that Islam are next, doing a travel ban. He's starting that up again, and then locking up the protesters at Columbia. That's also an indication that he's targeting Islam now. And I was wondering, well, they're on your list. When are you going to go get them? So when he went and talked with the Department of Justice, it was thrown in and understood as to the need for the DOJ to start doing their jobs. He wants them to do their jobs, and they're not doing it the way he ordered it to be done. And so thus, go after the press, go after the Dems, the deep state, his political opponents, go after Islam, go after others. Do your job. Get it done. Go after Hillary. Go after Biden. Get him. Lock him up. So that's what he was doing with the DOJ. And so, yeah, this really is a quick video. And so then I can get to the discussion when I get back from my run. Utah news, to finish us off, has passed an age verification requirement on apps. They keep pushing. They tried to get it through internet. They were denied. They tried to get it on porn sites. They ran into some problems. Pornhub, is that the company that did the video to say Utah because of their new law, even though Texas overturned it, but apparently Utah didn't give a damn about what some other state's judge told them not to do. And so Pornhub, I think it is, said you cannot watch porn if you're a Utahn. Well, this is that type of thing. Utah legislature has also been ordered by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to go after social media sites, to have social media sites hand over the age verification. They're all pushing for this. This is to create a blacklist. When you understand that Oaks is in charge of everything that's happening and what he has planned for their kingdom in Utah. We're not going to Missouri, in case you didn't know. We're not even going to southern Illinois, where we're supposed to go. Gotta watch my channel. And so Section 119 makes it very clear who is going to be deported from Utah once the church gets their kingdom back. Those who aren't paying tithing. And from Cook, I had obtained an audio in which he states that the word of wisdom will also kick a person out of Utah when the church gets their kingdom back. Word of wisdom, obviously, yeah, the church is going to ban all alcohol, drugs, tobacco, coffee, and tea. All will be gone from the state of Utah. Herbal tea, no, because herbs are in the word of wisdom. And so herbal tea is okay. It's not the specific British tea that it was referring to originally. But they've expanded it to insist that it also applies to instant coffee. I don't care. I don't like the smell. If I don't like the smell, it's not going in my mouth. I was raised up to be that kind of a brat. A spoiled brat. And so what people don't know is that the BYU professor who claimed to do a study and then simply was just bullying people to divert away from the church's abuse, is that the one woman that he interviewed was obese, violating the word of wisdom. Because you have to be able to run and not be weary and walk and not faint. Obese people can't do that. They're violating the word of wisdom. Exercise is part of the word of wisdom, as understood, in order to walk and not be weary and run and not faint, or whatever, vice versa. I don't memorize. And it is in the temple too, but the initiatory, or the washing and anointings. Your legs that they may run, your feet that, no, that is different. That you may run and not be weary. The second token of the Aaronic priesthood, patriarchal grip, or sure sign of the nail. Yeah, that's right. Health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity throughout generations of time, throughout all eternity. Yeah. So it's close, but that's where it took from, was word of wisdom. And so the woman that was interviewed was parroting what he had told her to say by victim blaming her, to divert away from the church being the cause of the abuse. And so for her, when the church takes over and says no obese people, she will go into depression, because she's been told she's guilty, that she's responsible, not the church. And then the church will use that guilt and exploit it and say, you're right, you have to go, we're sorry, bye. And then she'll be weeping and crying because she thinks the church is true, was hoping for Jesus to save her, and nope. Church will step in and say, there is no Jesus. Where is Jesus? They won't do that. I doubt they would be that brazen. But when they're in control, they can do whatever they want. They can make stuff up, or keep the false hope going, or just come out and tell the truth. Yeah, Lucifer is our God. Didn't you catch on? Inverted pentagram. That was your big clue. Come on, people. Now let's all say our prayers to Lucifer. Hail, Satan, full of grace. Thy kingdom has come. Thy will be done through the president of your church, the Church of Lucifer Christ of Millennial Saints. And it's up to them. They get in control. That's what Oakes is talking about. That's the end goal. Kingdom. To destroy the federal government and make it so that the church can run the whole state of Utah. And they know in the process of destroying the United States of America that they can greatly expand their kingdom. And that's why they've been going after temples, getting land, and possessing the land, and hoarding money by the trillions. $5 trillion in America for the whole week were sold off by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the major stock investor in the stock market. And that one day, $4 trillion in the Asian markets. The church is raking in the dough because Oakes is doing insider trading by causing the conditions and making it happen to profit off of it, just like he did in 2020 with COVID. The church were selling the stocks, and then knowing that it was only going to be a test run, they then reinvested into pharmaceutical company stocks so that they would then profit after somebody invents the vaccines. And nobody seems to understand this. They ignore the fact that the church were profiting off of the virus and then profiting off of the vaccines. Everybody's upset with the church for demanding that Mormons get vaccinated. It's like demanding to pay tithing. Hello? Same pattern. So this is a big danger, guys. And I wish you guys would listen rather than argue about how the church is somehow true as Christian with Jesus, when it just means you're illiterate. Because even the Bible says it's Jewish.